Life is not fair. Fortune strikes without warning. Friends betray, plans collapse, and most people, they break. But what if I told you resilience is not about staying calm, not about blind optimism, but about strategy, cunning, and power? Machiavelli, exiled, tortured, abandoned, knew suffering better than anyone. Yet he turned his pain into The Prince, a book that shaped empires for centuries. He proved one truth: adversity is not the enemy. Weakness is. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 8 Machiavellian principles of resilience. Principles that will teach you how to reframe adversity, harden your discipline, control the uncontrollable, build emotional armor, and so much more. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand these 8 laws, you'll stop seeing setbacks as punishments and start seeing them as weapons. By the time we're done, you won't just survive the storms of life, you'll know how to rule them. 1. Reframe adversity. Here's the brutal truth. Life will not go according to your plan. You will lose jobs. People you trust will betray you. Dreams will shatter right before your eyes, and in those moments, most people break. They see adversity as punishment, like the world is out to get them. But Machiavelli, he would smirk at that weakness because he knew something others didn't. Never waste a crisis. Use it as a weapon. Think about his life. He served Florence as a loyal diplomat for 14 years. Then, in one political shift, he was thrown into prison, tortured on suspicion of conspiracy, and exiled. His career? Gone. His reputation? Burned. His allies? Silent. Most men would have withered into obscurity, but not Machiavelli. What did he do? He sharpened his mind and turned his humiliation into The Prince, a book so powerful that rulers, centuries later, still fear and admire it. Do you see the lesson? Adversity isn't punishment, it's raw material, it's firewood, and Machiavelli burned it to light a legacy. So let me ask you, what do you do when life betrays you? Do you collapse or do you calculate? Lost a job? Good. Now you're free from the prison of routine. That's power. You can build a skill, launch your own path, or pivot into something greater. At work, when a project fails, the average man sulks. But a Machiavellian mind rehearses, what did this teach me about strategy, about timing, about people? That failure just became a training ground for your next victory. Even betrayal, one of the deepest wounds, can be transformed. When someone stabs you in the back, don't just bleed. Study, because betrayal is intelligence. It shows you who was weak, who can't be trusted, who was never meant to be in your inner circle. That's not just pain, that's purification.
Hey guys, we're Wisdom, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Here's the Machiavellian rule. Every setback is intelligence. Every failure is training. Every wound is preparation. This isn't positivity, this is power. The weak see adversity as an enemy. The strong see it as a teacher. But the Machiavellian, he sees it as a weapon, and the man who can weaponize suffering cannot be broken. Strengthen mental discipline. Power isn't built in comfort. Luxury doesn't make you strong, it makes you soft. Machiavelli saw it clearly. Necessity impels men to act. Think about that. When your back is against the wall, when you must act or lose everything, suddenly you find strength you didn't know you had. Comfort is a trap. Necessity is a weapon. Machiavelli watched princes rise and fall. The ones born in silk sheets, surrounded by luxury, crumbled the moment life struck. But those forged in hardship, those who knew hunger, exile, and danger, they became dangerous. Why? Because they had already trained their minds to endure. So here's the question. Are you training your mind to be dangerous, or are you training it to be weak? You don't need a crisis to practice necessity. You can create it every single day. Wake up earlier than others. Not because it's fashionable, but because discipline starts with controlling the morning. Take cold showers. Not for health trends, but because you're telling your mind, I choose discomfort. Fast from food or comfort for a day. Not because you have to, but because you can. Run when your body screams no. Work when your mind whispers rest. These aren't rituals, these are drills. Each one is a proof to your own mind. I can endure. Imagine this in daily life. At work, when the deadline is crushing, you won't fold because you've trained yourself to thrive under pressure. In society, when others chase ease, you'll stand apart as the one who can push through storms. Even in relationships, your ability to tolerate discomfort makes you dependable, unshakable. Here's the Machiavellian truth. Discipline is not about routine, it's about sovereignty. Small daily discomforts are your training ground for the chaos that life will inevitably throw at you. So, stop chasing comfort. Machiavelli would tell you, build the habits that harden your will, because the man who can master discomfort masters himself. And the man who masters himself, he becomes unstoppable. 3. Control what you can, release what you can't. Most people waste their lives fighting battles they cannot win. They curse the economy, they rage at politics, they complain about people's nature, as if the world will ever bend to their whining. But Machiavelli knew better. He said, fortune, chance, luck, the chaos of life, controls half of what happens to us, but the other half, that belongs to us. And the wise man, the wise ruler, does not waste strength on what cannot be controlled. He adapts, he redirects, he bends reality by bending himself. Think about it like a storm. You can't stop the wind, you can't command the rain, but you can command the sails. The weak man curses the weather. The Machiavellian adjusts his ship and still arrives at his destination. So let me ask you, how much of your energy is being wasted on things you can't control? At work, don't waste time blaming the economy, your boss, or the system. That's energy scattered into the void. Instead, sharpen the weapons you do control. Your skills, your network, your ability to adapt faster than others. Those are assets no crisis can take from you. In relationships, stop trying to change people's nature. Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on what people should be, but on what they are. Don't fight someone's flaws, anticipate them, redirect them, use them. A strategist doesn't fight reality, he maneuvers around it. In society, don't waste years raging at injustice with no plan. Instead, ask yourself, where do I still have influence? Where can I strike? Real power comes from channeling energy into what is yours to command. Here's the Machiavellian law. Resilience dies when you fight reality. It thrives when you adapt. So stop wrestling with fate. Control what you can. Release what you can't, because the man who knows the difference is not a victim of fortune. He is its master. 4. Develop emotional armor. Here's the truth. The world will test you. People will insult you. They will betray you. They will spread rumors, mock your failures, and celebrate your pain. Most people react like open wounds. They bleed at every scratch. But Machiavelli warned rulers, avoid hatred and contempt. Why? Because when you let emotions rule you, you become predictable, impulsive, and easy to destroy. The man without armor reacts. The man with armor calculates. Machiavelli saw it in politics. The ruler who lashes out at every insult earns hatred. The ruler who ignores the noise, who strikes only when it matters, earns respect. So ask yourself, are you bleeding at every slight, or are you building armor? At work, criticism is inevitable. Your boss might doubt you. Colleagues might undermine you. If you take it personally, you'll burn out or lash out. But if you step back and ask, does this weaken my mission or is it just noise? Suddenly you see clearly. Most insults are irrelevant. Only threats to your mission deserve response. In society, gossip is constant. People talk. Let them. A Machiavellian doesn't waste energy defending his name in every conversation. He lets his results silence the critics. Words are air. Power is proof. Even in personal life, betrayal will come. Someone you trust will stab you in the back. Painful, yes. But pain is not the point. The point is, what intelligence does this betrayal give you? Who is loyal? Who is weak? Who must be cut away? That is strategic detachment. Here's the Machiavellian truth. The distance between what happens and how you respond is where your power lives. So build your armor. Don't react to every jab. Don't bleed for every insult. A leader who collapses at words will never survive the battlefield of life. Machiavelli would tell you, stay cold, stay sharp, stay untouchable, because only the armored mind endures. 5. Maintain strategic perspective. Most people lose because they think too small. They panic over short-term pain. They celebrate small victories as if they're the end game, and they crumble at the first sign of resistance. But Machiavelli understood something deeper. A failed battle means nothing if you win the war. He watched rulers rise and fall. Some obsessed over immediate popularity, quick wins, or avoiding temporary losses. But the ones who endured, the ones who carved their names into history, were those who thought decades ahead, not days. So let me ask you, are you building for today's applause or for tomorrow's empire? A failed deal at work? Irrelevant if you're constructing a career that spans decades. A rejection from one client, one investor, one partner. Small detail in the larger book of your legacy. The Machiavellian doesn't collapse over today's pain. He measures it against a vision so grand that temporary setbacks look like dust. In society, people chase instant recognition, likes, status, validation. But Machiavelli would call that pathetic. Why? Because real power is not built on moments. It's built on momentum. The man who can zoom out, who asks, how will this look in 10 years, 20? That man is dangerous. Even in personal life, when you suffer heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment, remember, the long game turns pit into strength. Today's wound becomes tomorrow's wisdom. Here's the Machiavellian law. Short-term pain is the tax you pay for long-term power. So when the world hits you, zoom out. Ask yourself, in 10 years, will this matter? Or will it just be a footnote in my empire? Because in the end, the battle you lost today is just strategy. The war you win tomorrow is legacy. 6. Build a strong support system. Here's the illusion. That strength means standing alone. That resilience means fighting every battle by yourself. But Machiavelli knew better. He wrote that a wise prince must surround himself with capable ministers and loyal allies. Why? Because alone, you are weak. With allies, you rise again. Even the most cunning ruler cannot govern a state by himself. Even the sharpest general cannot fight a war without soldiers. And you? You cannot build lasting power without people who sharpen, challenge, and strengthen you. So let me ask you, who surrounds you right now? Are they sharpening your blade or dulling it? In life, stop clinging to friends who drain your energy with gossip, envy, or weakness. They are weights, not wings. Machiavelli would tell you, cut them off. Choose allies who test your thinking, who push you to grow, who make you dangerous in ways you couldn't be alone. At work, don't look for flattery. Flattery blinds rulers. Instead, find mentors and colleagues who expose your blind spots, who criticize when needed, who help you refine your strategy. That's not comfort, that's power. In society, networks matter. Machiavelli saw that alliances could resurrect even fallen rulers. When you fall, and you will, your support system decides whether you rise again or disappear. Resilience is not isolation, it is collective strength. Here's the Machiavellian truth. The strongest fortress is not made of stone. It is built of allies. So stop pretending you can do it all alone. Build your circle with precision, because one loyal ally is worth more than 100 weak followers. And when the storm comes, you will not only survive, you will rear. Practice recovery. Most people treat rest like weakness. They glorify non-stop hustle, endless motion, constant noise. But Machiavelli would scoff at that. He understood a brutal truth. Rest is not weakness, rest is strategy. After his political defeat, after torture, after exile, Machiavelli didn't collapse. He retreated. He withdrew into solitude, not to sulk, but to reload. And out of that silence, he wrote The Prince, the book that outlived every one of his enemies. That is recovery as a weapon. So let me ask you, when you rest, are you collapsing or are you reloading? Sleep is not laziness, it is sharpening the sword. A warrior who never rests dulls his blade until it shatters. The same applies to you, in the gym, in business, in politics. Stress breaks you when you never pause. But with recovery, stress doesn't destroy, it forges. Journaling isn't therapy, it's strategy. Write not to complain, but to clarify. Reflection is not wallowing in the past, it's dissecting it so you can strike sharper next time. Even solitude is power. Machiavelli did his greatest work not in the palace, but in exile, alone. Because silence strips away distraction, it forces the mind to see clearly. Here's the Machiavellian law. Without recovery, pressure crushes you. With recovery, pressure shapes you, so build rituals of rest. Sleep deeply. Journal with precision. Reflect like a general after battle. Because resilience isn't just about enduring. It's about knowing when to step back, reload, and return stronger than ever. Machiavelli would remind you, the man who masters recovery doesn't just survive storms, he learns to control them. 8. Adopt the Stoic mindset. Hope is not a strategy. Dreams are not defenses. The man who expects life to be fair is the man who collapses first. Machiavelli knew this. He wrote that rulers must always expect betrayal, war, and disaster, because those who prepare survive. Those who dream collapse. This is the essence of the Stoic mindset. Prepare for the worst. Hope for the best. Machiavelli watched weak princes fall because they assumed loyalty would last. Fortune would favor them, and enemies would stay quiet. But the rulers who endured? They rehearsed disaster in their minds long before it struck. So when the storm arrived, they didn't panic. They executed. So let me ask you, if everything went wrong tomorrow, would you still stand? If your business failed, your friends betrayed you, your money vanished, your plans burned, would you collapse or would you adapt? If the answer is yes, I would still stand, then you are untouchable. Practice this daily. Imagine losing everything. Imagine betrayal, failure, ruin. Don't do it to suffer. Do it to harden. Because when you've rehearsed the worst, the real thing feels familiar. Fear loses its teeth. In daily life, this changes everything. A rejection, expected, a setback, already rehearsed, a betrayal, nothing new. You stop being shocked and you start being dangerous because you are always ready to act. Here's the Machiavellian truth. Fortune favors the prepared, not the hopeful. So stop waiting for life to be kind. Expect the betrayal. Expect the storm. Expect the collapse. And when it comes, smile, because you already trained for this. Machiavelli would tell you, the man who prepares for the worst rules the future. The man who dreams of the best becomes its victim. You've just learned the 8 Machiavellian principles of resilience, from reframing adversity to building emotional armor, to preparing for the worst. Now, ask yourself, are you going to watch this and move on, or are you going to live it? Because resilience is not built in theory. It is forged in daily battle. Every betrayal, every failure, every storm life throws at you is an invitation. An invitation to harden your mind, sharpen your strategy, and rise stronger than before. Remember this: the weak see suffering as punishment, the strong see it as training. But the Machiavellian? He turns it into a weapon. So the next time life strikes, don't just endure it, don't just survive it, use it. Because resilience isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to command it.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the resources and the original books we used today. We'll see you in the next one.